Welcome to Rare Breed Brotherhood. The loudest in the room is the weakest. The quietest one is the one people watch when things get real. Being a Sigma male means living on your own terms, even when the world doesn't get you. And make no mistake, they don't. That's why people behave so strangely when they realize you're not just different. You're the real deal. They try to label you, challenge you, mimic you, even reject you. But underneath all that noise is one truth. They see something in you they don't see in themselves. You're not moved by status. You don't need to be the loudest. You're grounded, observant, and brutally honest, not just with others, but with yourself. That's rare, that's powerful. People can sense that you're not chasing attention, and that's exactly why it follows you. But let's be real. Walking this path isn't easy. It's lonely, misunderstood. It takes strength to move quietly through a world that's obsessed with being seen. It takes self-trust to ignore the pressure to conform, and it takes wisdom to stay kind in a world that constantly tests your patience. So if you're a Sigma male, don't let the reactions around you shake your core. Their confusion, their curiosity, their silent respect, that's confirmation. You are the reminder that it's possible to be powerful without being loud, respected without begging for it, and free without asking for permission. Keep walking. Keep being the one they can't quite figure out, because in a world full of noise, your silence speaks the loudest. Let's dive in rare breeds. Number 1. They start copying his style without giving credit. It's fascinating how people behave when they recognize a Sigma male as someone different, someone with that rare energy. One of the sneakiest things they do? They start copying him without ever giving him credit. You'll notice it in subtle ways at first. Maybe it's the way he dresses, nothing flashy but always clean, sharp, with a kind of effortless cool. Soon enough, others around him begin adopting similar looks. Not because they genuinely like it, but because they want a taste of that vibe, that confidence that seems to come so naturally to him. They hope wearing the same style will give them some of his magnetism. But it's not just clothes. His way of talking, his calm tone, his choice of words, people start echoing that too. They pick up on his calm confidence, the way he avoids unnecessary drama, the way he answers questions with quiet clarity. It's like they want to sound smarter, more composed, just like him. Even deeper than that, people begin mimicking his work habits, the way he focuses, how he handles pressure, how he doesn't waste time on meaningless chit-chat. Suddenly you'll see others trying to match his productivity or his discipline, but without acknowledging where they got the idea. What's interesting is how rarely they admit it. It's almost like copying him feels like a secret power grab. They want to borrow some of his aura, but won't openly admit he's the one setting the standard. Maybe it's envy. Maybe it's fear of admitting someone else outshines them in quiet ways. If you're a Sigma male and notice this happening, don't get bothered or seek validation. This copying means you're doing something right. Your style, your energy, it's influencing people without you even trying. That's power. That's leadership. And it's the kind of respect that doesn't need to be shouted out loud. Number 2, they try to box him into labels they can understand. One of the most frustrating and, honestly, telling things people do when they meet a Sigma male is this. They try to put him into a box. Because Sigma males don't follow the usual social rules, don't play the popularity game, and don't broadcast their feelings, people get uncomfortable. And humans don't like what they can't understand, so what do? They slap on labels. He's shy, they say, because he doesn't talk much. Or he's arrogant, because he doesn't try to please everyone. Sometimes they even call him weird or unfriendly, just because he won't act like everyone else. The truth is, these labels are less about who the Sigma really is, and more about how others try to tame what they can't control. People need to feel like they know where someone fits. It helps them make sense of the world and protect their own comfort zones. So when a Sigma male walks into a room, calm, self-contained, and unpredictable, it shakes up their whole sense of order. The uncertainty makes them nervous, and their way of coping is to shove him into a familiar category, even if it's completely wrong. But here's the thing. Sigma males don't care about these labels. They don't conform just to make others feel comfortable. They're comfortable with themselves, and that scares people who rely on social approval to feel safe. The Sigma's refusal to be defined is a silent power move. He's saying, I won't be limited by your narrow view. If you relate to this, remember it's a sign of strength, not weakness. When others try to label you, it means you're different enough to make them uncomfortable. Own your space. Keep being the person they can't easily define, because real freedom comes from breaking their boxes, not fitting inside them. Number 3. They feel uncomfortable but can't look away. There's something almost magnetic about a Sigma male. Even when people don't like him, they can't stop watching. It's like he has this invisible pull, a quiet gravity that draws eyes without begging for attention. And that's exactly what makes others feel uncomfortable. Why? Because a Sigma male isn't just different in how he acts or looks. He's different in how he exists. He moves through the world without permission, without approval, without needing anyone's validation. That calm defiance unsettles people. It makes them question the rules they've been following their whole lives. When you see someone who refuses to blend in, who doesn't chase popularity or fit into social cliques, it forces you to look at your own choices. Are you really living on your own terms or just copying what others do? That silent, unsettling question hits deep, and it stings. People try to avoid it. They might roll their eyes or mock him, but deep down, they're drawn to that freedom they don't have. Watching a Sigma male can feel like watching someone who cracked the code to life, and that's hard to accept if you're still stuck playing by the rules. Even if they don't admit it out loud, their eyes keep drifting back. They notice how he handles stress without losing his cool, how he doesn't rush to fit in, how he carries himself with quiet confidence. And that pull only grows stronger even as they push it away. If you're that Sigma male, don't shy away from this uncomfortable attention. It means you're waking something up in others, a reminder of what true freedom looks like. Your presence shakes up the status quo, and while it might make people uneasy, it also makes them respect you on a level they won't say out loud. Number 4. They start telling him their secrets without realizing why. There's a weird, almost invisible vibe that Sigma males give off. It's not loud or flashy, but it creates this quiet, safe space around them. Because of that, people start sharing things, deep things, messy things, things they don't even fully understand themselves. They tell him their secrets without even thinking twice. Why does this happen? It's because a Sigma male doesn't react the way most people do. He doesn't judge, doesn't panic, and definitely doesn't turn their stories into gossip. That kind of calm, solid presence makes people feel like they can be real, flaws, pain, all of it, without the fear of being attacked or misunderstood. What's crazy is people don't even realize why they open up. They might think it's just because he listens, but it's way deeper. Sigma males don't just listen. They hold what they hear without pressure or expectation. They don't force advice or try to fix things. They just let the truth sit there, safe and unshaken. That's rare. And people sense it, even if they can't explain it. Sometimes this leads to the Sigma becoming a quiet anchor in other people's storms. But here's the catch. He never asks for this role. It just happens naturally because he's steady, unshakable, and doesn't push his own agenda. People gravitate toward that without realizing it's a privilege, not a given. If you're a Sigma male and notice people dumping their secrets on you, know this. It means they trust you more than they trust most. But remember, you get to decide how much you take on. Being the safe place doesn't mean losing yourself in others' chaos. Balance is key. Number 5. They offer him leadership roles he never asked for. It's funny how people recognize Sigma males. They pick up on something steady and sure in him, a quiet confidence and clear vision. And before he knows it, others start pushing him into leadership roles he never even asked for. People see stability in him. They notice how in a crisis he doesn't panic or flail. He stays calm, thinking things through without the noise. Because of that, they expect him to step up, take charge, and fix things. They assume he wants the spotlight or craves authority. But the truth? That's rarely the case. Sigma males lead best when they're left alone. They don't need a title or permission to guide others. Their leadership isn't about control or popularity. It's about influence that happens naturally, because people trust their judgment and respect their independence. When left to operate on their own terms, they inspire others quietly but powerfully. The irony is that the more people push him to lead, the more likely he is to pull back. He doesn't want to be boxed into a role or expected to play by someone else's rules. Leadership for him isn't a job, it's a state of being. It's showing up when it matters, saying what's true, and letting actions speak louder than words. If you're a Sigma male who's been handed responsibilities without asking for them, recognize this. People see your value and want to follow your example. But don't feel pressured to accept a role just because it's offered. True leadership is choosing when to step forward and when to step back, and owning that choice with confidence. Number 6. They ask for advice, then argue with it. One of the most frustrating things a Sigma male experiences is when people come to him for advice, but then argue with what he says. It's like they want the truth, but only on their own terms. Here's what happens. People sense the Sigma's clear, no-nonsense view on things. They know his perspective is different, direct, honest, and unfiltered. So they ask for his opinion, hoping it'll give them some clarity or a shortcut out of their problems. But the moment they hear his advice, something clicks, something uncomfortable. His words shine a light on the excuses they've been holding on to, the stories they tell themselves to avoid change. And instead of facing that truth, they get defensive. They argue, justify, or twist his advice, acting like it doesn't fit their situation, even when deep down they know it does. It's almost like a reflex. Admit the advice is right, and they'd have to admit they've been avoiding responsibility. That stings. So they push back, trying to dismiss the Sigma's words to protect their ego and keep their comfort zone intact. What's wild is the Sigma rarely takes offense. He knows this is part of the process. People aren't ready for the truth until they are. His job isn't to force his advice down anyone's throat. It's to hold up a mirror and be honest, whether they like it or not. If you're a Sigma male dealing with this, don't waste energy trying to convince others. Real change only happens when they stop arguing and start listening. Your wisdom matters most when people are ready to hear it, not just when they want it. Number 7. They watch his every move in silence. Sometimes, the loudest attention isn't in words, but in silence. When people recognize a Sigma male, they don't always jump in or speak up. Instead, they watch him closely, quietly studying everything he does. It's like he becomes a living blueprint for how to handle life on his own terms. They watch how he walks into a room, calm, confident, never rushing or stumbling. Every step feels deliberate, as if he knows exactly where he's going, even if no one else does. This isn't arrogance, it's self-possession, and it draws people in, even when they don't say a word. They watch how he works, focused, efficient, and undistracted. No frantic hustle or desperate trying to impress, just steady progress and silent mastery. People notice this and wonder how he stays so unshaken when everyone else seems overwhelmed. They watch how he handles pressure. When chaos erupts, he stays cool, never losing his center. This quiet strength makes others feel exposed. Their panic and noise suddenly look weak by comparison. They watch how he reacts to nonsense, dismissive but not rude, firm but not angry. It's like he has this sixth sense for what's worth his time and what's not. This careful energy makes people think twice about how they act around him. All this silent observation is more powerful than any conversation or compliment. When people study a Sigma male like this, it means they're learning. They're trying to figure out what makes him different, and maybe how to borrow some of that power for themselves. If you're a Sigma male, understand this quiet attention is respect in its purest form. They don't need to tell you, they're watching, and that's the kind of influence that lasts far longer than any loud claim or flashy show. Number 8. They ask deep questions they wouldn't dare ask others. There's something about Sigma males that makes people drop their usual small talk and come straight for the heavy stuff. It's like others sense they're dealing with someone who can handle the big questions, those deep, unsettling, what does it all mean? Kind of thoughts that most people avoid like the plague. People don't ask Sigma males about the weather or weekend plans. Instead, they ask questions that dig into purpose, existence, and the raw truths most are too scared to face. Why? Because Sigma males don't shy away from the dark corners of life. They stare them down. They're not interested in surface-level chatter or fake positivity. This draws others in, sometimes unexpectedly. They feel safe enough to bring their fears, doubts, and existential crises to someone who won't judge or run away. It's a rare gift to be able to sit with uncomfortable truths without flinching, and Sigma males have it naturally. And here's the real kicker. These deep questions aren't just for show. People aren't trying to impress. They genuinely want insight because they know the Sigma's perspective is different, raw, honest, and often a little bit unsettling. His answers don't sugarcoat the truth or offer easy comfort. Instead, they challenge, provoke, and push others to think deeper. If you're a Sigma male, this is a sign of your quiet power. People come to you because you're not afraid to explore life's toughest questions. But remember, this role isn't about being their therapist or guru. It's about holding space for truth and encouraging others to face their own realities. So own it. Keep being that rare soul who can handle the weight others avoid, because in a world full of noise and distraction, your depth is a lighthouse for those lost in the fog. Number 9. They try to lure him into the spotlight. Sigma males aren't fans of the spotlight. They thrive in the background, quietly observing, working, and moving on their own terms. But people around them often feel a strange urge to pull them into the center stage, whether it's to celebrate, challenge, or simply expose what makes them so different. Why? Because when someone refuses the usual scripts of attention and status, it makes others uncomfortable. The Sigma's calm refusal to seek validation or play the popularity game leaves a void that people feel compelled to fill. They want to see him on display where they can understand or control him better, so they try to lure him out. It might be a push to speak up in a crowd, to share personal stories, or to join group activities that demand attention. Sometimes it's subtle. Come on, why don't you say something? Or it's more direct. You should be the leader. Step up already. The message is clear. Be more visible. Be less mysterious. But the Sigma isn't fooled or tempted. The spotlight doesn't call to him because his power comes from being unseen, from acting without needing applause or recognition. His influence grows quietly, out of sight, in ways people don't always notice until it's too late. This attempt to drag him into the open is a reflection of others' discomfort with what they can't control. The Sigma's preference for shadows makes people anxious. They want to reduce him to something familiar, something they can label and predict. If you're a Sigma male, remember this. Your strength isn't in standing center stage. It's in knowing when to stay in the shadows and let your actions speak. Don't let anyone pull you into a spotlight that dims your power. You lead by being quietly unstoppable. Number 10. They begin comparing themselves to him. The Sigma male has a quiet way of becoming a measuring stick for everyone around him, even if no one says it out loud. Deep down, people start comparing themselves to him. Am I as composed, as self-aware, as free? His presence stirs this silent internal competition that no one admits but everyone feels. What's wild is that it doesn't matter if they like him or not. Even those who actively dislike or dismiss him can't help but check themselves against his calm and clarity. His life is a constant low-key reminder of what it looks like to live with purpose and without chasing approval. That contrast makes them uneasy, even if they won't say it. This comparison isn't about ego or trying to one-up him. It's more primal and honest, an unspoken acknowledgement that something about his way of being is something they secretly want but don't know how to get. It's like he's holding a mirror to their own insecurities and shortcomings, and it stings. The Sigma male doesn't need to do anything to make this happen. He doesn't have to brag, perform, or call attention to himself. His steady presence and self-possession naturally set a benchmark. And that benchmark? It's a challenge disguised as quiet confidence. If you're a Sigma male, understand this. Your silent impact is more powerful than any loud declaration. People watch you, measure themselves, and wonder if they'll ever reach that level of calm, control, and freedom. That's the kind of influence that changes people without a single word spoken. Own that quiet power. You're not just living your life, you're setting a standard others can't help but notice. Number 11. They feel threatened by his independence. Most people are used to measuring worth by how well someone fits into the system. how many people like them, how loud their voice is in a group, how well they play by the rules. Then enters the Sigma male, and suddenly that whole system starts to look shaky. See, the Sigma doesn't rely on approval, titles, or cliques to define himself. He doesn't need a cheer squad. He doesn't wait for permission. He walks alone, and still wins. And that deeply unsettles people who've built their entire identity on being needed, being followed, or being praised. They might not say it out loud, but they feel it in their gut. His independence isn't just mysterious, it's threatening. Because it shows them a version of life where you don't need constant validation to be powerful, where you can operate outside the system and still rise above it. That breaks their worldview. People who thrive on groupthink or social games often try to mock or minimize the Sigma. They'll call him cold, arrogant, or antisocial, not because it's true, but because it helps them protect their own fragile egos. It's easier to label what they can't control than to admit they're watching someone who's mastered something they haven't. What they don't understand is that the Sigma isn't rebelling for attention. He's just built differently. He doesn't crave their spotlight or applause. He's chasing freedom, not popularity. If you're a Sigma male, know this: your independence will trigger people, not because you've done anything wrong, but because you've revealed how much they depend on the things you've learned to live without. And that kind of power? That's rare, that's real, and that's why they feel threatened. In conclusion, the loudest in the room is the weakest. The quietest one is the one people watch when things get real. Being a Sigma male means living on your own terms, even when the world doesn't get you. And make no mistake, they don't. That's why people behave so strangely when they realize you're not just different. You're the real deal. They try to label you, challenge you, mimic you, even reject you, but underneath all that noise is one truth. They see something in you they don't see in themselves. You're not moved by status. You don't need to be the loudest. You're grounded, observant, and brutally honest, not just with others, but with yourself. That's rare. That's powerful. People can sense that you're not chasing attention, and that's exactly why it follows you. But let's be real. Walking this path isn't easy. It's lonely, misunderstood. It takes strength to move quietly through a world that's obsessed with being seen. It takes self-trust to ignore the pressure to conform, and it takes wisdom to stay kind in a world that constantly tests your patience. So if you're a Sigma male, don't let the reactions around you shake your core. Their confusion, their curiosity, their silent respect, that's confirmation. You are the reminder that it's possible to be powerful without being loud, respected without begging for it, and free without asking for permission. Keep walking, keep being the one they can't quite figure out, because in a world full of noise, your silence speaks the loudest. Would you like me to format this as a full script ending for a voiceover or video? Thank you for watching. God bless you.